Now, why does this matter? Well, the first, let's just look at it from a company standpoint. So if you are a large company and I don't know, let's look at Apple, right? If you're Apple, you don't really care too much about the absolute value of the dollar. What happens is if the dollar moves lower, it's going to get a little bit more expensive to buy things from other countries like China and all of that. And then also, when you go to sell things to other countries like Canada, for example, if you go to apple.ca, it's going to be different than apple.com, right? So if you go apple.com, and it's already going to yell at me about Canada, but prices are going to be one thing because it's in US dollars. And if you go Apple, let's just do a Mac here. If you go to apple.ca, it's going to be different, right? So you, as a company, need to set these prices. Holy smokes, how many buttons do I have to click? All right, Apple 8.99 with savings. Now let's just take the same one and just go to CA. Right? I know a lot of you guys know this, but it's important to note, right? So now it's $1,249 as opposed to $900. And that's just because the difference between the US Canadian dollars. So you can already start to see why a fast moving dollar is really going to be hard on business because you're not going to be able to update the prices for all of the world all the time. And you're not going to be able to update the deals of how much the input cost of building a MacBook is going to cost. So if I'm building a MacBook and then shipping it to Canada, if the dollar is moving rapidly, that is harder business to run. So it could be good things because the lower dollar, maybe it's our manufacturing is better or something like that. Again, they'll sort it out if price is the same for a long time. But when it moves fast, that becomes really hard. So just think about any equity that works internationally is going to have a harder time in this particular environment with a fast moving dollar, right? That's the first thing to talk about. Whenever it settles, wherever it settles, they'll figure it out, right? Apple will be fine. They're big boys. But when it moves really quickly like this, it's hard to move giant corporations that quickly. So that's one thing, right? And there are arguments for strong dollar versus weak dollar.